Okay, yeah. So how did this all happen? Are
I
you
always say this all started for me when I was 11, and I don't go year by year after that, but I was in one of the first experiments in global education as a sixth grader in 1968. I grew up in Evanston, Illinois, and they were already thinking about what we were going to need to know and be able to do to be leaders in the 21st century. And so our teachers came in, I'll never forget the first day of school, they all came in and said, welcome, now you have to take responsibility for your own learning because things are changing really rapidly, and we're trying to characterize the future that you are going to grow up in, and we are going to need to create new knowledge and understanding in order to do that. So we're pretty sure that your future will be characterized by rapid change, more and more rapid change, more and more complexity and interdependence, more and more diversity, more and more uncertainty, more and more global issues. And by the way, the state of the planet doesn't look too good. And we started tracking the state of the planet from that day forward. And so they said, this is what we're pretty sure is going to happen. What we don't know is what you're going to need to know, what kinds of technology you'll have to use, what kinds of careers there will be. All of that will change by the time you're all grown up. And so you're going to need, the best thing we can do for you is to help you to learn, to think about your thinking, and to be open-minded, because things are going to change so rapidly, and you will constantly be engaging with people who think differently than you do. And you will need to be able to stay open-minded to adjust your thinking. And so, of course, I see that as a beautiful invitation now. At the time, at the ripe old age of 11, all I could think of was, that seems like a lot of work. Why don't you just tell me what you want me to do and I'll do it? Because I had been schooled. I knew how to play the game of school. And now they were asking us to think and to help them create new knowledge and understanding. It seemed like a lot of work. But it took me about 3 weeks to realize what an amazing invitation that was. And I never got over it. And I also realized at that time that school was about learning, which I had never realized up until that time. And so I grew up to become a global educator because I thought that was the best idea. And then in 1987, there was a UN report written called Our Common Future. And it was the first time that they used the term sustainable development. And I had been tracking the state of the planet since I was 11. And I could see that most of the systems upon which we depend were in decline over time, very slowly. And I already knew that in the early 80s we exceeded carrying capacity on the planet. But I didn't have a word to describe it. And suddenly here's this word, sustainable. And I thought, I think I've been tracking unsustainability my whole life. What the heck is sustainability, and how would you educate for it? And that began the shift toward education for sustainability. So that was in the late 80s, and I thought I was very late founding the center in 1995 because it was so many years after the concept had emerged. But it turns out I'm one of the leaders of the field and a founder of the field. Some things take time, particularly paradigm shifts take a little time. So that's how it started.
Can you tell me about your sort of those thinkers or people who inspired you in this work?
There are many. I would say John Dewey, certainly in his passion for learning and for constructivist learning. Buckminster Fuller was very much influential in my life, particularly from the sixth grade on, because the whole notion that we could pull off a sustainable future was a very positive vision at the time. This way. Let's see. I'm particularly inspired by people like Robert Fritz, and his work in structural tension and how important it is to have a vision and a goal and work toward it, and the tension that's created in doing so.